Hello, my name is Bryan Hughes, and I'm doing my presentation on the NFL and its concussion symptoms protocol. This presentation is for Business Law 2150 at Appalachian State University, and the date is December 2nd, 2014. Here's a little introduction to the presentation topic. Professional football is one of the most violent and injury-related sports we have today. These athletes are constantly getting hit and putting their bodies on the line through constant punishment, which can ultimately lead to negative health effects down the road. Let's face it, almost every Sunday between the months of August and February, NFL fans sit down on their couches and tune in to watch their favorite teams battle it out on the field. It's been like this for years now. This is why the NFL gains the most revenue out of any professional sport, averaging $250 million a team. The NFL sells out every stadium, television station, and bar you can think of on Sundays, and in return, the athletes are expected to deliver on the field. Here are some short videos from previous NFL games, which show the plays which have led to concussions. For the sake of time, I'll show a small portion of two of the videos just so you guys get a feel for how serious some of these hits are in the NFL.
First and 10. That picks up for Mexico was drilled. Oh my goodness.
Second down and 10. Oh, what a hit. Look out. Lance Smith. My goodness.
These hits you just witnessed have taken a toll on thousands of former NFL players, and now their symptoms are catching up with them. Recently, more than 4,500 former NFL athletes, some suffering from dementia, depression, Alzheimer's, and CTE, have sued the league, accusing it of concealing the dangers of concussions and rushing injured players back onto the field. All these symptoms have been linked to the continuous blows to the head that they have accumulated throughout their careers. One of the leading stories regarding the long-term negative effects of these concussions was displayed during the suicide of NFL linebacker Junior Seau. At 43 years old, Seau shot himself in the chest at his home in 2012. Researchers concluded that Seau suffered from CTE, a degenerative brain disease often linked with repeated blows to the head. This resulted in changes in his behavior, depression, insomnia, and unfortunately the taking of his own life. Which leads us to one of the reasons the former NFL players are filing their lawsuit against the NFL, the concussion symptoms protocol. These ex-players believe that the NFL did not properly implement the protocol to ensure that the players were healthy enough to continue playing. It is believed that coaches and upper management and even the NFL executive offices didn't put much focus on this because they wanted the best players out there playing the games for winning purposes and revenue and TV purposes. Now, however, it is being enforced as it should, and each team's medical staff is in charge of making sure the players are 100% healthy and capable of playing. And the table shown down there lists steps from 1 to 6 when athletes receive concussion-like symptoms. In order for them to return to the field of play, they must achieve each step along the way in order to make sure that they are properly ready to go and play at their full potential. Even though there are several pending lawsuits against the NFL, most have very similar, if not identical, theories of liability. In order to better understand why the players are suing the NFL, it's important to make clear what they are not suing for. The players are not suing the NFL for their actual concussions. More to the point, they are not claiming that the NFL caused them to suffer the concussions. Instead, they are suing the NFL for the failure to advise them of and protect them from the harmful effects of these concussions. And this leads into the concussions that I have, the risk versus effects. And as you see on the slide, concussions in the NFL are what the law categorizes as an inherent risk. When a sport or activity creates a risk that is open and clear, All participants are deemed to have assumed that risk whether or not the sponsor has actually warned them or protected against it. For example, a firefighter cannot sue the city or its department for getting burned while putting out a fire. The risk of getting burned when firefighting, like the risk of getting a concussion in football, is inherent and can't be a source of liability. In the NFL, there is an inherent risk that a player will likely get hit in the head when he steps on the field. This risk is obvious, and by playing football, the players have assumed this inherent risk. Therefore, there should be no general duty to warn players about the risk of getting concussions in football. However, the ex-players are arguing that there is a duty to warn about the effects of concussions and that the NFL was unreasonable in carrying out this duty. They argue that the league had an obligation to disclose that concussions might cause long-term brain damage and that the league didn't protect its players from its long-term damage. This question goes to the scope of a duty to warn. Obvious risks do not create duty, but the non-obvious effects of those risks might be so important as to justify creating a duty. This slide here focuses on one of the more known scholarly sources on this issue. Brett Favre, who was a quarterback in the NFL for 20 years and has taken more punishment than most players ever have. If anyone knows about the difficulties of having concussions, it's him. At the age of 44, he says facing scary memory issues linked to the field of concussions, and he quotes, "I think after 20 years, God only knows the toll," said the ex-Green Bay Packer, who was tackled for losses and sacked more than 525 times, more than any other quarterback in modern NFL history. He has also admitted to not remembering his daughter's soccer games, as well as not being able to finish sentences because he has forgotten certain words. So that's a good scholarly source for somebody who has played the game and has experienced concussions firsthand. Another good scholarly source and scholarly analysis is the NFL commissioner himself, Roger Goodell. Early on, when the former players made it clear that they would be seeking a settlement with the NFL for concussion symptoms, Goodell backed the players, saying that he wanted the best outcome for both parties. He understood the serious legal issue taking place and how it was affecting past and present players, but at the same time, he knew that he was running one of the most successful businesses in the world with the National Football League and had to preserve the game as much as he possibly could. So he was a good scholarly source and a good scholarly analysis because he saw it from both sides. He was not only running one of the largest companies and largest grossing companies in the world, the NFL, he is also in charge of making sure that the players and the safety of their players is at the highest peak. And so he was a good medium between the two. And this is my personal analysis, so I'll just read from the slide. After reading and reviewing all the information and prior analysis, I believe that all the NFL can do at this particular point is live and learn. With a physical sport such as football, incidents are inevitable. There will continue to be lawsuits in the future against the NFL, especially when it comes to the safety of its players. All the NFL can do is continue to evolve and adapt its policies to ensure the players and viewers that they are doing everything possible to protect its players and their personal well-being. So the NFL will continue to be around for years to come, and what they must do is continue to monitor the health of the players as well as the amount of occurring concussions and make adjustments accordingly. The important facts of the conclusion of the NFL settlement are on this conclusion page, so I'll just read from this slide as well. In late 2013, the NFL reached a tentative $765 million settlement over concussion-related brain injuries among its 18,000 retired players, agreeing to compensate victims, pay for medical exams, and underwrite research. The plaintiffs include Hall of Famer Tony Dorsett, Super Bowl winning quarterback Jim McMahon, and the family of Pro Bowl linebacker Junior Seau. Under the settlement, individual awards could be capped at $5 million for men with Alzheimer's disease, $4 million for those diagnosed after their deaths with a brain condition called CTE, and $3 million for players with dementia, said lead plaintiff's lawyer Christopher Seeger. Any of the approximately 18,000 former NFL players would be eligible. The settlement most likely means the NFL won't have to disclose internal files about what it knew and when about concussion-linked brain problems. Lawyers had been eager to learn, for instance, about the workings of the league's mild traumatic brain injury committee. Here are all the sources, the references that I used for this presentation. And that about sums up my project. Thank you guys for your time.